Happy Friday, Baylor College of Medicine and friends of Baylor. Well, it finally came out. The CDC has decided that we have new isolation recommendations, which are basically, come on in. I'm telling you, crowd control has been a problem here. And for those of you who watch every week, crowd control is our biggest problem. Anyway, the CDC has, in fact, changed its recommendations. No, we're just rolling through it. We're rolling. So the CDC has changed its recommendations. So we're going to now treat COVID just like RSV and flu. Stay home for at least 24 hours after symptoms. This is Janet. This means, like she called me on the phone. She's sniffling, going, "Am I symptom free?" No, symptom free. So you have to be symptom free, and then 24 hours later. No fever with no medication for 24 hours. And remember, previously it was 5-day isolation, and that's no longer the case. And my favorite thing is the rationale for that is because we have all these new tools to detect and treat the virus, and everyone's being vaccinated. Okay. We know that's not true, so go out. I guess the idea is we're going to pretend everybody's vaccinated, so just go out there after 24 hours. Anyway, probably a better recommendation, and that's what people are doing anyway. Most people aren't actually even testing, although I personally think you should test. If you're positive, I think you should isolate for at least until 24 hours after symptoms, and if you're still positive, I frankly, you're still infectious. The main thing is you're most infectious with symptoms. So if the symptoms go away, even if you're positive, you're probably not going to be transmitting much virus. So that's the big news today. So today we're very lucky because we have a real monumental day. It's 70th anniversary of our PM&R department. That's physical medicine and rehabilitation. A lot of people don't know that's a big part of medicine, and so we're going to tell you a little bit about it. We're going to give you a really close look of the Taub Department of Physical Medicine and Rehab. You'll hear from Dr. Michael Lee, who's the chairman of the department, and Dr. Ann Holmes, one of my favorite people, who's a physician and has been here for 30 years at the VA, runs our spinal cord program. So it's really exciting. We're really excited because it's a nationally ranked program, been here for 70 years, and we're going to get a chance to talk to the people who run it. So come on with me and let's go to the VA first.
So, what drew you to Baylor and the VA when you started here in 1984?
First of all, the patient population. I just, even from medical school, I loved all of my VA rotations. I loved the atmosphere. I loved working with the veterans and the patient care, the education programs, and the research drew me to working at the VA.
And what are the main causes of spinal cord injuries in the patients that you treat?
The majority of the veterans that we serve on a day-to-day basis have already completed their military. They're retired from the military and they have veterans benefits, and they sustain a spinal cord injury either through falls or motor vehicle crashes.
What would you say has been the biggest advancement in treatment?
Technology has been a huge benefit for our patients. Just simple things. If the spinal cord can be injured anywhere along the spine. So patients, particularly that have injuries in their neck or cervical area, that limits their hand function. The technology that's available currently really assists them with just simple things like using a phone, operating their computer or their television, being able to do that by voice commands as opposed to pushing buttons. Technology in wheelchairs, technology in driving. Many of our veterans are able to drive, and that technology has also really improved.
And how about patients' psychological adjustment to an injury?
In my experience, is that how significant the spinal cord injury is, or how severely the spinal cord injury is damaged, tells me nothing about how that person is going to respond. and what stages they're, of course everybody has days they're mad, they're sad, they're bargaining, they're accepting, but they all go through it in different phases, and they don't necessarily go through all phases, and so much depends on their support system.
And lastly, what are your thoughts on the 70th anniversary?
It's hard for me not to make it personal. I grew up with a disability, was born with a disability, and my dream was to become a doctor. And when I decided on a specialty, there was not a physical medicine and rehabilitation program in Memphis, Tennessee, where I grew up. So it was a big move for me to come to Houston in '91 for my residency, and I had every thought that I would go back home, and the options that I was presented here to work at this VA and for Baylor, and are just very meaningful to me.
Dr. Lee, as chair of the department, can you tell me some of the highlights in the department's history?
So over the last 70 years, I think we have done multiple things, if I may. We provided research, and research has been one of the top programs in the country. We are really focusing on functional independence and quality of life. And that's what we focus on in our research projects, as well as in preventing and managing secondary conditions they may develop due to their primary conditions.
It seems like Baylor has trained many PM&R leaders.
Many of the leaders of the field is a graduate of our programs. About 15% of the chairs in physical medicine rehabilitation is a graduate of Baylor College of Medicine PM&R training program. So we have done an exceptional way to not only training the people, but also they become the leaders of the field, and then they contribute to their particular areas or specialties. So I think that's a huge impact that we have had.
Does your faculty serve in other areas of the world?
Many of our faculty are involved in mission work, both through their organizations and through the Baylor College of Medicine. Recently, we are in Ukraine working on trying to help the patients who are injured through the war, not only the veterans, but also the general patient population. And we're trying to figure out how to help these patients, and especially with multiple trauma patients and amputee patients. So through our work in our prosthetics and orthotics and amputee rehab, we plan to develop Baylor College of Medicine Ukraine Foundation, in which we will hope to make a significant impact in better taking care of our potential patients in Ukraine. So that's one of the ways that we can give back to the community, not only the Houston and Texas and US, but also international community.
And finally, what are your thoughts as the department celebrates 70 years?
Baylor College of Medicine Physical Medicine Rehabilitation is well known. It has a long history, and I think there are still, even though we're one of the best, we can make it better, and which is something that I can do. So it's making the program a little bit better than I found them, and hopefully continue to be a leader in physical medicine rehabilitation is very important to me. We have a great future ahead of us for our department.
Well, I'm glad you got to hear about the department, and I want to end today with a bunch of shout-outs. First of all, a big shout-out to the H. Ben Taub Department of PM&R. This is the 70th anniversary of that department, and congratulations to everybody in the department. Also, a big shout out for CPRIT Awards. So CPRIT, as you know, is the Cancer Prevention Research Institute of Texas. And it's our big opportunity in the state of Texas to recruit in cancer scientists. And we had 8 Baylor researchers of the Dan L. Duncan Comprehensive Cancer Center that were awarded more than $9 million in grants. And so we're really excited about that. We also received a $2 million recruitment scholarship for Dr. Vishnu Dilip from MIT. So very excited about that. Also, congratulations to Carol Wang, a 10th grader at the DeBakey High School for Health Professions, who was awarded a gold medal in the Houston Rodeo School Art Show for her beautiful painting of a cowboy riding a horse entitled What Lies Ahead. I hope you'll get to see it. It's a beautiful painting. She's really very, very talented. And then, of course, finally, Sunday marks the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan. You may not know this, but in Arabia it was very, very hot, marked the time of very intense heat in Arabia, and so it's perfect for Houston. Marks the time of soon-to-be summer. And anyway, it's a time of fasting, prayer, and reflection, and just a big congratulations to everybody who's celebrating Ramadan. Peace be with you, and Salam Alaikum. And I can't wait to see you next week.